we are get paid to be uncertain, and who is better uncertain than probably reaching more and bringing humanity more beyond towards these better and better questions. And I think also, if you think about what was the goal of this inquiry-based and discovery-based, experience-oriented playfulness models in education. Education is my main field. So this is really not to tell the answer. And this is the mistake, I think, but according to these approaches, a teacher can do to provide the answer or make these routine tasks for the children or the students. It's all about that. How can you be among those who are puzzled about interesting problems, and what you can do together in these situations. And I started with philosophy. So Kierkegaard, this big, great pre-existentialist thinker, has a beautiful thought about this. Maybe I will rather put it into the chat later. I'm not going to read it out now, but this is on a philosophical way, describes very much, I think, that this uncertainty, what future can bring, and I think in situations like this, we feel it like as a large global society. This not only in a personal situation, as maybe Kierkegaard regarded it as a philosophical thought. And when we continue thinking about science, at least 20th century science, we found this Bohr's quantum indeterminacy, Gödel's undecidability, nonlinear dynamics. And of course, for the 21st century, where we are now, I think it's a little bit, how can I say, a bit blanking out what we learned from these theories, not only in their field, but in general, that is economic uncertainty. We really tend to think that our limits are there where our money ends. And I think, a bit mistaking to see that our resource is money, but money is maybe nothing, but that's not the real resource. And also, I think this the digital media, this kind of directness of the digital media also tend to make us think that science is for giving answers and someone should tell what to do and so on. But it's we see now that it's really not the case. And when you think about sustainable development in education, you can find a lot about this very closely connected concept, this anticipatory, strategic collaboration, critical thinking, self-awareness, integrated problem solving. So all what comes to that how you can find guidance in this kind of situations, what you can rely on when there is this uncertainty is growing around you. And also there are many paradoxes you can find, for example, this rebound effect and so many other things. And if you just think about the sustainability development goals in general, like when social, cultural, economic and ecologic questions tend to be bonding up and making very difficult configurations, then this all comes together in a very complex way. When we closing up to the Finnish education system where I'm working, we can see that the whole curriculum is focused on competence development and very much includes and rely on this sustainability dimension, how to participate, how to be involved into building a sustainable future. So something which is not here yet and what is very hard to make strict and formalizable and routine opinions. And also taking care of oneself and others, managing daily life and development as human, as a citizen. And we can see also it's declared actually in the Finnish curriculum, one of the first pages you will find that this whole curriculum is based on United Nations Agenda 2030. This is Sustainable Development Goals integrated in this transversal goals, and it should be everywhere. And you really can read, it's an excellent document of this, and also how creativity and creative education can help you to navigate in these fields. But in the same time, we can see that sustainability is like 30 years old concept in this Finnish context, in the Finnish education. You can find the research results when they say that that actually this is a story of a failure, because I mean, in that terms, that there are many investments has been done on policy level and theoretical level and every level that teachers feel confident to approach these questions. And still, when there are some research results available not so long ago, 2017, around, there were large research taking place where it was pointed out that actually teachers are feeling, how can I say, a bit discouraged to discuss these topics and sustainable development education, implement this beautiful policy, because they feel the lack of confidence in these questions. This is too difficult and too complex to connect it to subject learning, and it just creates problems. We don't have this confusion. It was the main point in these questions. But maybe what we need just to have a step beyond and step forward, and maybe try to encourage also teachers and people in this field that it's not a problem to be confused, and it's not a problem. It's so natural in this situation and with these questions, facing with these questions, that it's quite much part of the story, that you don't have the right answer and you cannot even verify really which one will be the right one. But you can assess at least who has better question, who has a question which regarding more and more, involving more and more further questions, that how we can extend our scope and our focus. This might be a point of assessment here. And it might also can give teachers confidence to be uncertain, and confidence to open up this with their students. And this is, we started to expand on this idea. And in project-based learning, we have teacher education courses here where the teacher students are realizing like an exhibition where they are exhibiting these questions in an interactive format in a natural science museum here in our city in Jyväskylä. And also the point is that people are coming in with questions and maybe leaving the place with even more questions, critical questions on their own life. And we also try to make research about this, that we started this configuration between technological development and sustainable development. How do you see the connection? And you can see these are very, how can I say, wicked questions here, that what's your opinion? It's if your its technological development increases rather than decreases diversity of nature, and or it's reducing or increasing pollution. So you can see that these are actually very hardly answerable questions, but very much those questions which we need to be serious today. And we also see, of course, this uncertainty factor is raising with these questions. But maybe this kind of exercises can help to the future teachers to give better guidance also for themselves in these kind of situations, and not stepping back when there is this very complex, very difficult questions are coming into the learning, and try to use it as a learning opportunity. And this is actually what we try to bring forward in this phenomenon-based way, and through creativity, and also to consider children's well-being. And this is also quite much in line with this changing, transforming structure of European schools. I think in most countries there are more movement from this networked way of leadership. I mean, as like the leading or the trending way to approach this. And actually we can rely, I think, more on also people who are around the school and not inside, or not just who are inside the school, and having the school more connected through this creative ecological basis to the surrounding, and also to recognize that creativity is not maybe a singular noun, but maybe a plural, and how we can make school available and also informal learning spaces available to recognize and appreciate many kinds of creativity. So we have a book to be downloaded for free about this creative approach. And the basis also with this book, the main thing that it wasn't written by us, but the teachers who are participated in this project. So this is like a guidance, giving encouragement in this kind of situations. So also, of course, how Corona is transforming our activities, that's pretty how can I say, challenging, and also we learn a lot from these situations. I don't go too much into this now, because I think I'm running out from the time. But also there are interesting trends about these questions. What I'm just told to you last year, in the era of hotels and these strange vehicles on the sky. So in the past era, last year I visited Japan, and I had the fortune to meet with this wonderful person, Saya. She's a virtual human. I had a great conversation with her. She told me about the beautiful future in Japan, Society 5.0, how technology will be a panacea for, sorry if my ancient Greek's pronunciation wasn't so good. I'm still a learner, so how it will be a panacea for all the challenges what humanity is facing. So you can be really optimistic as well. But let's also take a look at what children are thinking about this, because it's also exciting that if you ask children about what to do, how to prevent this and that, they will already have a lot of information. That was also obvious in Theo's and Pandora's science festival, that children really have a lot of information, and they know already a lot how to do it. And to watch their artworks when they combine mathematics and art, you can, I think, learn a lot how to teach mathematics, for example, a little bit more colorful, a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more direct, playful way, and also to see that how they see these complexities with the help of their imagination. And I think that's another thing what I would like to say as an inspiration, that imagination is not an enemy of scientific thinking, but it's maybe the greatest resource. And also critical thinking through the maths and arts. And also this cosmic awareness, I mean, without any esoteric implementation here, but just in this natural ecological meaning. So I think there is a lot to learn from these artworks, for example, what created by our children in South Africa in one of our projects in experience workshop. So I would like to end up here now, and I hope to meet you at another occasions and to continue thinking about these questions together with you. Thank you a lot for your attention.
Thank you so much, Christoph. The drawings are indeed amazing. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There is someone, Andrew from Ars Electronica, Andrew Newman. So last Ars Electronica festival, we had an online exhibition. You can still find it in this Kepler's Garden website, so you can enjoy all these works if you want. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Maybe we will have the discussion. Theo, you want to say something? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just I was just clapping.
That's something that I do miss. It's like then feeling this wave of. So, thank you.
Thank you a lot.
So maybe we'll leave the discussion period to the end after Pandora's talk, and then so that we can have a joint discussion. Thank you.
Okay. So can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Sorry. I guess you can all see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we would like to take the opportunity today to just present one of our projects that we're really proud of in Psycho. So it's a project called STEMpowering Youth. What it is, it's actually a STEM program which aims at students and educators between 12 and 17 years old. So they're based in secondary schools. It takes place in remote communities all over Greece, so islands, mountains, and places that have fewer opportunities to engage in the STEM world. And what we ask from students is to actually identify real-life problems in their local communities or in their schools or in their families or in their local villages and try to use science and technology in order to solve them. The methodology we use is actually aimed at the educators to begin with. So we call all the educators from all over Greece to Athens. Obviously, we pay for all their expenses and we hold a 2-day training on the STEM curriculum. And then they leave with the whole educational guide and a STEM kit with all the necessary tools and equipment they will need to use with their students. They then return to their schools, but they actually run an out-of-school program. It's a 10-week workshop with their students. So they are actually using the school buildings and the school classrooms, but they are engaging with their students after school hours, so in the afternoon, which gives a different level of freedom, if we can say that, and much more time. And students use these workshops in order to build teams, identify the project, and use the knowledge and the skills that they learn through the program in order to make real projects to solve the issues they've identified. Then there's a competition that actually judges all the projects that come out of all of this procedure, and the best project is awarded with an educational trip. The last one was at CERN. So it's truly a very useful occasion and experience for both the teacher that guides the students and the student that wins. What we've seen is that through this methodology, actually students really do become scientifically engaged and they start seeing science in a more useful and fun way, with regards to the traditional way of teaching in Greece. It also helps students to be familiarized with the latest technological advances. We have included in the curriculum quite a lot of the so-called exponential technologies. We do have VR, AR, we talk about Internet of Things, students use Arduino and sensors, basic coding. We have an introduction into big data and citizen science, and they do learn how to develop their own applications on the smartphones. So all of this actually does lead to the creation of unique projects that solve the challenges that they have identified. Of course, throughout the program, our main aim is to, apart from creating the basis to develop knowledge, we aim at creating the basis to develop critical thinking, collaboration, and problem solving. This program has run for 2 years, between 2017 and 2019, and you can see the basic numbers of the program during those 2 years. And now I am just going to share a few examples of the actual projects that came from the students, were created by the students. A group of students in Xanthi, which is an area in the north of Greece, actually created goggles for the blind that would inform them when an obstacle was in the upper part of the visual field. Because obviously when you have the stick as a blind person, you can make sure you don't bump into anything that is below, let's say, your middle section. Whereas with the glasses, you can also be aware of obstacles that are in the higher part of your visual field. A second one was in the island of Kalymnos. This is an island that's quite mountainous, so you have a lot of activities with rock climbing and hiking, both for the locals and for tourists from Greece and abroad. So here you often have accidents, and because it's very difficult for the ambulance to reach them very quickly, they designed a drone that would receive the area in which the climber would have the accident, and it would go with a first aid kit. So just very basic first aid to help them until the actual medical assistance would be able to approach them. The third one is another island in Leros. Here what they did is they developed a smart traffic light, because they had a very narrow street with low visibility, so they would continuously have very bad traffic jams without there being a specific reason. So they developed a smart traffic light that would be based on seeing if somebody was there or not and changing according to the needs and not just based on the time. And finally, a project that we chose to share was a smart greenhouse that was developed from a fourth island, Rhodes. And here what they do is this greenhouse would automatically turn on the night lights when it would go dark. And in case of high temperatures or carbon dioxide values, it would be able to open the windows. Here we put a few verbatims from the educational ecosystem. So you can see both students and teachers and parents are all impressed from the project and have had a very positive experience from all this. We need to say that it's a project run by us in collaboration with a school that focuses particularly on science education, and it's called the Germanική Αγωγή. And actually the Vodafone Foundation is the main funder of all this project. It was awarded in the Excite conference of 2019, and it received the Mariano Gago Award. So we are very proud of this, as you can see from Theo's smile. And now actually what we wanted to mention is that the project has evolved into an openly accessible digital platform. So you can't find STEMpowering Youth anymore, but it's this program called Generation Next. It still follows the basic methodology that we shared with you. So we still identify schools and teachers with fewer opportunities, bring them to Athens and train them. But at the same time, you have all of this material available and free online for anybody to be able to access it at a national level. Well, actually at an international level, but it's in Greek, so I guess it's mainly the Greeks that can benefit from this. And the second difference is that now we run a national competition that is open to all students. So we are very happy to see more and more students and educators engaged in this. The second step that we are very happy about is that we have been asked to reapply this project with Vodafone in Albania. So we are currently collaborating with the foundation over there and the National Ministry of Education, and we are developing the curriculum in order to start in the coming months. If not November, hopefully in December, we will kick off the project over there, which we are very, very happy about. And that's it from me. Thank you very, very much. And I guess we're open to questions now for both sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pandora. Super interesting and inspiring. Thank you. Okay, so question time. Anyone would like to start?
I think I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Christoph and Pandora, for your talks. I think I would just like to ask Pandora one question, because you mentioned that on the part of the teachers training, you said that you give the training to the teachers and then they actually develop the projects together with the students after school hours. I think my question is just, how did you make this happen? So, because we know that of course all teachers have their personal life, and sometimes it's not so easy to commit to a schedule that goes beyond the school time. So I think I'm just interested in knowing.
It's a very good question, and obviously we have the same problem here. So the only way to go about this actually, and it works, is that the teachers are paid. They are paid so they sign a contract, they get all the educational material, and then based on the 10 times 3 hour workshop that they have, they get some kind of subsidy in order to make sure that they are on board. It's not a fantastic sum of money, but it makes sure that we respect their personal time and their busy lives, and also get what we need out of the project.
Yeah.
Theo, I don't know if you would like to add
Yeah,
something.
I would like to ask that, believe it or not, that was one of the project innovations, because nobody really considered that they had to be paid in several other projects, and this is why you don't get the commitment. A second thing which was very critical was the out of school but within school approach. What does that mean? It means there is an out of school curriculum, but it's held at the school buildings, and this facilitates the gatherings of the students. They're familiar with it. The teachers are usually the same ones, so it facilitates the gathering of the attendees.
Yeah. Thank you.
And if I may add, we have noticed that actually teachers spend a lot more hours than the 10 times 3 because they are so committed to the project in the end. And also that teachers that have completed the first cycle come back again with their new students the following years without being paid. So they believe in the program, they've run it once, so they come back again and again, which is also proof that this procedure works.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess, and from your experience in Portugal, well, the analogy would be the institutional reward, right? The fact that the trainings are credited. I don't know what's
certified. I'm not sure.
Certified, exactly. So the way of incentivizing their participation, their commitment, it's by giving them points or in the institutional reward. Let's put it like that, right?
Yeah, that also actually also contributes to their career progression. So maybe it exists in other countries, but in Portugal there's this system in which they have to make a certain trainings within 2 years of their professional career, and if they do it, then they get this credits that allows them to progress in their career. So yeah, that's what we are using now with the next upcoming training sessions that we're going to make. Yeah. But cool, it's nice to know that this also works, and that also it works like as an initial incentive, but then it's not needed anymore.
I would like to make a question to Christoph. I think you brought very interesting topics while in this interface between technology and all these, also this emotional component, the arts. And actually I would like to hear, it's more like I would like to hear you thinking about this, because I feel that oftentimes what we miss a lot at school and even in our societies to bring the emotional component of topics to even all these. The way we talk about science is so cold that oftentimes we are not able to reach out to people, even to ourselves. So how do you see this? And in your drawings, I think they brought a lot of these dimension, and I wanted to hear you thinking with us about that, please.
Yeah, thank you for engagement and motivation. Of course, emotional perspective and this emotional dimension and the impact is a key, as we can see. And also this is a good environment, at least what comes to the Finnish education in these terms, that here there is a tradition of building this emotional well-being as well, and taking care about the learning environment also in a mental and emotional context. Though we just started with Theo joking about how social distancing is natural or not here in Finland. It is, but it's also based on a little bit slightly different ways of communication and slightly different meanings of these kind of actions. Like if you keep distance in many times in Finnish culture, that can also show respect and give space to the other. And you know, but it absolutely doesn't mean that you are not taking care of the other, but it's very much based on that you try to make sure that everybody is safe. So safety, I think it's a kind of a value here. Also the safety of the child, and as fortunately this kind of values can be kept in a relatively small society, as we just thought about it, and it becomes a greater and greater challenge, I think, in bigger communities. But this is a key dimension, as we can see, and as you have seen these artworks. So South African situation completely different, and still these children who made these artworks about it's also includes their expectations towards learning. There is another work behind me. There's the Stressed Vitruvian Man. That's the title of it, and this is also a strong critique of that this and these children also writing about what they wanted to talk about in this visual format. And this young person is actually a self-portrait where he hides his face. It's also very complex in history of self-portraits in like fine arts. And that he writes that he suffers from the maths education in his school. He feels that it kills his creativity because it's so much tailoring a coat on himself what he cannot really move in, and so many metaphors. And we try to build also these practices that how teachers can learn also from these responses. And also this is a level and the dimension of communication where not anymore this kind of verbal dimensions are really dominant, but children can really use different kind of ways and also tell things what maybe could never tell even in the most closest connection with the teacher.
Thank you so much.
May I ask, do you involve psychologists also in these projects?
Yes, educational psychologists and also creative theorists also, and also so there is a quite big, and it's like an open circle of scholars and also practitioners and parents as well, and other children too, who are this is very important also to understand children's artwork on their own. Not only just related to science learning. That's not the point here. Actually, not. This is not. We want that this artistic and communicative and scientific dimension. No any of these become more important than the others. That we want that children tell that how they see these connections, and also these connections, of course. So this is like an open approach.
Go ahead, Sean.
Thanks so much for this one for both of you guys. One, and this might follow on as well, it's that when we're kind of engaging in types of science learning as well, and I think it's to do with how traditional the education system is in Ireland anyway. It can be very kind of destructive if you don't know anything. And I thought it was really great that you're introduced these types of phenomenon and phenomenon learning and system thinking, and it can be very overwhelming for some people. And from kind of my experience or our experience, we kind of see that confidence is a big thing, is a big barrier for learners and teachers to engage in these type of programs, and it usually takes a long time to build up those relationships. I'm just curious about like how you build those relationships, or is there anything that you've implemented to help overcome those barriers?
Yes, that's again so big question, and again it's differs in all situations because it so much depends on the actual situation. But we really try to help teachers and also ourselves that how to be courageous also to step behind in some situations, and how to build that kind of confidence and trust step by step. So like, okay, to bring it down to a very practical way, actually, as I thought, this is a fortunate situation in Finland where so big authority comes down to the teachers. They are like respected as experts. And this story is again now contested or challenged from many perspectives, and there is transformation in this, and not certainly to the good direction as I see. So I could also make a long critique here, but still teachers have authority to control time and also control the needs-based approach to their students. And there is a close ties still between early childhood education, primary school. So there is this preschool also, which is ending the primary school. And it means that this gradual step-by-step support to the children, it's generally quite important. And also teachers in primary school have the time, if they want to invest, that they just concentrate for a few weeks or few months, not content learning, but establishing the community. They keep breaks, they play together, and these kind of things. And actually no any principal, I mean school leader, would intervene if it's not necessarily goes into some kind of risky way, but there is always this community reflection. So teachers have to practice self-reflection during their training, and also this community reflection, that how this transparency and discussions are becoming very important, and teachers meetings, when if something happening in the school, they come together and discuss, and everybody can say what they think. So this has also huge impact positively, but also there are situations when this kind of thing also can make pressure, and this so many things here. But the main point that no one will criticize you if you say that my main point is here to build this community in the school, and this learning community, and also to have a good image on how society should operate, should work. No one will tell that you are crazy, but this is like so much embedded here in the culture. Let's see what will happen with this in the next few years.
Yes, thank you very much, Krzysztof. There are very nice ideas for me, because in Czech Republic, I'm from Prague, Czech Republic, and here it is that they somehow isolated the formal education and the normal life of society. So you just put the kids for 5-6 hours to the school, don't take at all what they are doing, and you live your own life. But please, I would like to ask one question. I was in Finland in Joensuu for 1 year, but it's already some 7 years ago.
Okay.
But we experienced many programs in basic schools around Joensuu, and it was quite often that there was some what we call the project teaching,
yes.
so that they had 3 months or even half
yes.
a year on one topic, air or
yes.
forest, and they experienced all the subjects, mathematics, physics, biology, on this general topic.
Yeah.
And it's quite now it is quite under development in Czech Republic. It is perceived as a modern, like Finnish educational ideas. So I would like to ask how it is perceived in Finland, this experience or this kind of teaching from society and from educational stakeholders and so on.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, I forgot to mention, I think many of you already found it out, at least you from the Czech Republic, that I'm Hungarian. So my name is not Finnish name, so it's a Hungarian name. So I have some opportunity to compare also, at least Hungarian.
Austria monarchy education.
Yes, exactly, yes. And I also see these differences, but as I told, that's very important that it's never should be the point to praise Finnish education for this and that, but maybe to have conversation with this kind of approaches. And what comes to this project-based learning, yes. This has also like long tradition here, and also this learning by doing idea, that it's again connected a little bit to the social values and the social perspective here, that in general there is many things in Finland which are very pragmatic, and they really tend to see this operational and this pragmatic level of how the things should work. and it's less barrier from many other things here, and this learning by doing and applied learning is very important, and these projects give opportunity to go deep into topics and also to put learning content in one-to-one connection with sort of real life, and using not only, just as Pandora introduced, so not only this school-based environment, although it's maybe in the school, but somehow reality comes to the school with inviting parents who do some exciting things, or working on a project like building a house, a little house, or building a sauna together, or this kind of things, and then what different teachers can support in to have a good sauna, for example. So that can be a project, and actually everybody is quite happy for that. And main important that the curriculum support this, that they have also a legal basis and a legal environment to be sure that they are not running against this policy with that.
Any more questions? We are actually turning, well, we have already turned already 11:05. Thank you so much, Christoph and Pandora. This is really, I think this was really relevant, and it brought super relevant dimensions. And well, at least for me, thank you so much. And it was very inspiring and insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot. I really hope that you can visit us also soon. It will be possible again. And if you see any possibilities in the project, in multiplier events or in conferences or whatever, you can also count on us. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.